The tale commences with a poignant recollection from the protagonist's heroic past. Despite saving the world, he laments humanity's steadfast reluctance to change its perspective. A distant voice interrupts his thoughts. His brother, branding him, summoned by their father, the protagonist, once a hero, is now declared banished from the esteemed house of Duke Vastal. In a clandestine display, he conceals a triumphant smile as newfound freedom replaces the weight of responsibility. A reincarnator and former hero, his previous life was fraught with danger, pursued by assassins, and met with ungrateful gazes from those he saved. Now, with the shackles of societal expectations lifted, he contemplates his next move. Reborn into royalty, initial praise as a prodigy wanes when his progress stalls at age 10. His little brother surpasses him, earning disdain from his father. At the adult blessing ceremony, where gifts from the gods define status, he receives nothing, deemed worthless and subsequently banished. Yet, in his solitude, he embraces the freedom to start anew. While contemplating a remote retreat, a distant roar draws his attention. Using his Eye of Heaven skill, he witnesses Beatrix, a woman battling a regenerating monster. Reluctant but compelled, the protagonist, now known as Alan, intervenes. Amidst the chaos, memories of his previous life surface. Beatrix valiantly fights, but the monster's relentless regeneration puts her at the brink of defeat. A mysterious power within Alan surfaces as he obliterates the creature. Turning to Beatrix, he heals her wounds with a touch of magic. The encounter reunites him with Liz, his former fiancée, who praises his extraordinary healing ability. Sharing the story of his banishment, Alan is met with shock from Liz and Beatrix. Grateful for their unchanged friendship, Liz offers support. Beatrix proposes becoming Liz's escort, and a week later, they find themselves in a remote village. In the village, they encounter Akira Kazari, the proclaimed hero of the generation, sparking tensions that seem destined for a duel. Alan concludes his tale, prompting questions about his extraordinary powers. Liz assumes a high-ranking gift beyond the current recognition threshold. Debating the girl's perceptiveness, Alan questions if they are sharp or airheaded. Beatrix and Liz, unperturbed by his abilities, prioritize friendship over his banishment. Grateful for their loyalty, Alan urges Beatrix to drop formalities. As they approach the village near the border, they witness a scene where a girl is ostracized. The narrative takes a turn toward this unfolding drama, setting the stage for new encounters. In the quaint village, a peculiar event unfolded when Liz, having received a gift of immense power akin to a legendary warrior, declared herself the bearer of the Mark of Light meant to dispel darkness. Intrigued and confused, Alan sought further explanation from her. She introduced a girl named Akira Kazari as the hero of the era, revealing a power inherited through bloodlines called Braver. Alan, seemingly nonchalant, accepted Akira's challenge for a quick match. To everyone's surprise, Alan effortlessly defeated her, showcasing a power beyond the renowned Braver ability. It stirred thoughts about his family's decision to cast him out after consistently dodging their attacks. Upon learning about a dragon threatening the village, Alan, Liz, Beatrix, and Akira decided to investigate. They discovered that the villagers, bound by some strange revelation, were tight-lipped about the situation. Akira revealed her encounter with a sacrificed child and her determination to defeat the dragon. As they approached the mountain, they encountered dragons and, unexpectedly, the enraged dragon itself. Akira, determined to keep her promise, engaged in a fierce battle. However, the dragon revealed a sinister motive behind the sacrifices, hinting at a family seeking power from dragon parts. Despite Akira's valiant efforts, the dragon proved formidable. In a dire moment, Alan intervened using his observational skills to analyze the dragon's strength. With a mighty blow, he defeated the dragon, leaving everyone astonished. After the battle, Akira decided to travel with the rescued child, while Alan pledged to continue escorting Liz. Liz, secretly a healer, revealed her ability to heal wounds. The trio embarked on their journey, with Alan looking forward to a new sword and the mysteries that lay ahead. Waking her up, she appeared surprised to find Alan there, only to realize she was lying on his knees. Her face flushed with embarrassment, and she began apologizing while panicking. Alan reassured her, stating that she wasn't heavy at all, and it was perfectly fine. Beatrix agreed, but still thought Alan seemed tired and suggested he take a nap. Amidst the conversation, Alan burst into laughter at something funny Beatrix said. They looked at him curiously, and he explained that the master and her subordinate were remarkably similar, gazing at the sky and stars. Alan reflected on the enjoyable freedom he had experienced in the past 10 days. Upon reaching the village, Alan was surprised to find it resembled more of a city than a village. Liz confirmed this, mentioning the presence of a guild. Alan pondered how such a developed city could exist in the wilderness. Liz explained that the city was well designed, catering to various races like elves, beasts, and humans living in the kingdom of Adster. Discrimination existed even in this diverse world, with some struggling to fit in. Beatrix continued, revealing the possibility of becoming a handyman or an independent adventurer. As they reached the front door of a house, Liz announced it was their forge. Inside, Alan observed various swords, some superior to his own. Liz acknowledged that the noise was gone, indicating the arrival of someone. Beatrix suggested it might be a coincidence, but Liz suspected otherwise. Noelle, a blonde girl and a skilled blacksmith, entered the workshop. Liz introduced Alan, leading him to wonder if Noelle was Liz's girlfriend. Despite the embarrassment, Liz explained that as the first princess, making friends had been challenging for her. Alan was glad those problems were resolved, recalling his initial intention to support Liz in everything. Liz and Alan shared thoughtful words, making Liz turn red. Introductions were eventually made, revealing the girl as Smith Noel. Liz asked for a sword for Alan, but Noel initially refused due to her busy schedule. However, she agreed after inspecting Alan's worn-out sword, promising to create one that surpassed even sacred swords. In Alan's family mansion, his brother informed their father about handling the army redundancies. Meanwhile, Noel revealed that crafting the sacred sword would be a costly endeavor, requiring considerable effort. Beatrix expressed jealousy over the opportunity, and Alan agreed to return in 10 days for the finished sword. Liz suggested not bothering Noelle until she finished her work, and Beatrix concurred, offering to wait quietly. The group decided to leave Noelle to her work and attend to other matters in the town. Beatrix then revealed the truth about her general's passing 3 months ago, highlighting the strength of his leadership skill. It would not be an exaggeration to claim that the general held half the military might of the kingdom. However, in the current circumstances, neither the general nor his counterpart could make a decisive move. With the kingdom losing its military leader, there loomed a potential threat of invasion from allied countries. The House of Westfields, situated on the southern border, was a key ally, but their involvement was hindered by ongoing issues with demons. Alan, cognizant of the impending crisis, faced a personal dilemma. He now possessed the right to decline involvement and relish quiet days, free from the judgment he had endured in the past. On the contrary, he couldn't bear the thought of Beatrice and Liz losing their homeland. After careful consideration, Alan chose to offer assistance, though uncertain of its effectiveness. The relief and gratitude in Beatrice and Lizzie's eyes reflected their appreciation. Curious about the demise of the general, Alan learned that the incident occurred 3 months ago in the early morning. The general, known for his early rising habit, was found lifeless in his room, sans his head. The mysterious circumstances puzzled investigators, with no apparent magical traces or abilities at the crime scene. While demons were suspected due to ongoing demonic issues, their methods seemed inconsistent with the crime. Alan contemplated the possibility of collusion with demons, but acknowledged the lack of concrete suspects. His arrival at the Westfield family's location, a diverse city filled with various racial groups, provided a prime opportunity to gather information. Despite ongoing public interrogations, suspicions were lifted from the Westfields, leaving the investigation at a standstill. In a luxurious hotel suite, Beatrice and Liz expressed gratitude to Alan for helping resolve their concerns. However, a twist occurred at the Rivera Guild branch when they attempted to sell materials. The guild secretary, Nadia Bentic, discovered rare dragon scales and the ID card of the Silver Maiden, leading to an unexpected revelation about Beatrice's past. The material's rarity prompted further evaluation, and the encounter attracted the attention of the guild's director. In a separate scenario, Noelle dedicated herself to crafting a sword surpassing the power of the sacred sword, pouring her blood, sweat, and tears into the effort. Meanwhile, at the hotel, Beatrice and Liz welcomed Alan back after his encounter with the guild, intrigued by the unexpected turn of events. Gathering intel, he apologized for his tardiness, revealing a lack of information in the guild about the enigmatic incident. He hadn't delved deep into the search, but rumors of danger in the southern forest caught his attention. Liz, too, had heard whispers of the perilous forest, where numerous townspeople never returned. Beatrix inquired about the lack of traces, sensing an elusive, powerful force. Alan suspected someone was intentionally misleading them. 10 days later, they visited No's shop to inspect a sword, only to find her unconscious. While concerned, Alan's focus shifted to his new sword. They went outside to test it, and No questioned Alan's silence about her fainting spell, but he remained tight. In the next scene, Alan defeated monsters, uncertain whether to stop. No reminded him of their journey to the forest depths. Noel questioned Alan's carefree attitude, and he assured her of his pure intentions. They discussed a wounded beast causing havoc, prompting Noel to test her swords against it. In a subsequent scene, No crafted a new sword, recalling past hardships. As she prepared to attack the monster, it suddenly struck back, leaving her badly injured. Alan, armed with the sword she crafted, arrived in time to confront the menace. An old man intervened, praising the sword's craftsmanship. Noel, shocked, learned the man orchestrated the monster's actions. The man hinted at Noel's connection to a dwarf from 3 years ago. He proposed taking the sword and disturbingly suggested Noel becoming his. When Noel refused, he ordered the monster to kill her. Alan intervened, using his sword authority to defeat the man fled, and Noel requested Alan's help in pursuing him. Meanwhile, a dark-skinned girl in the city tasked with killing someone targeted Liz. Beatrix intervened, rendering the girl unconscious. Liz revealed herself as a decoy, and they prepared to interrogate the captive. In the midst of the unfolding narrative, Alan found himself adorned with an enigmatic knoll on his back, a mysterious emblem that hinted at untold adventures. The scene swiftly transitioned to Alan navigating the bustling city, meticulously selecting fresh fruits and vegetables. Inquisitive about recent events, he questioned the shop owner, who disclosed that the return of people to the city was spurred by the apparent pacification of monsters in the forest. The guild, in turmoil, attributed this piece to a skilled individual, causing a ripple of change. Returning home, Alan encountered a dark-skinned girl named Noel, advising her to smile while serving customers. He discovered that when they initially met, Noel had contemplated taking the girl under her care. Beatrix, however, reminded Noel of her past attempt to harm Liz. Despite this, Liz intervened, and an uneasy alliance formed, with useful information surfacing. It implicated an elderly figure as the devil and linked the devil to the shogun's assassination. Noel, upon inquiry, revealed her harrowing experience of being threatened and on the brink of succumbing to a devil's influence. Moved by Noel's story, Alan decided to visit her occasionally, reflecting on the severed connection with the devil's influence. Troubled by potential side effects on Noel, he resolved to address it later. As he prepared to depart, Noel expressed gratitude and reminded him about materials he provided. Meanwhile, in the forest, the devil contemplated reporting the encounter with Alan. However, his escape was short-lived, as Alan tracked him down in the next chapter. Transitioning scenes again, we find Alan in a crowd sought after by the guild secretary for assistance. Puzzled, he learned that the guild was overwhelmed due to his recent exploits. The secretary proposed a housing deal, sparking Alan's interest. Intrigued, he inquired about recent developments and heard a rumor about Alfred Beverstam, a supposedly deceased member of royalty. Back at home, Alan shared this revelation with Liz and Beatrix. Alfred, Lizzie's uncle, had renounced his claim to the throne, but was rumored to be alive. Liz revealed the traumatic event of Alfred's disappearance, leading to rumors of his survival. Concerned, Alan proposed investigating, and despite Liz's initial objections, they embarked on a journey to the rumored village. During their journey, Liz and Alan enjoyed a moment of relaxation on a crag. The narrative subtly explored their growing camaraderie, with Beatrix joining in on the conversation about the beauty of the surroundings. As they journeyed towards the village, the anticipation of unraveling mysteries hung in the air. Liz and Alan eagerly approached Alan as soon as they caught sight of him. Liz couldn't contain her excitement as she shared her delight with Alan about the exquisite hot spring they had just experienced. Alan, pleased with her enthusiasm, welcomed the positive feedback. As dinner preparations were underway, Liz kindly offered to assist, but Beatrix declined the help. Liz, concerned about potential accidents, questioned Beatrix's decision. but Beatrix assured her that she wasn't that imprudent. Alan, finding Beatrix's assurance less convincing, teased her lightly. Nevertheless, Beatrix remained unfazed. Alan, impatient to start dinner, proposed preparing it together. Both Alan and Liz took charge of chopping vegetables. Alan patiently guided Liz on the proper technique, reassuring her that she need not worry, as she would improve with practice. After a satisfying dinner, Liz drifted off to sleep. Beatrix, grateful for Liz's assistance, carried her. Alan expressed his contentment with Lizzie's eagerness to help, and Beatrix thanked him for allowing Liz to contribute. Alan agreed, noting Liz's happiness in participating. In the next scene, Alan reminisced about his childhood, recounting a poignant memory. A young Alan, faced with questions from his brother about their sleeping mother, revealed that she was deceased. The memory shifted to their father, who, instead of praising Brett, considered Alan a genius. This marked a turning point where Brett, once admired, now faced rejection from their father. The narrative unveiled a painful incident when Brett, excited about a beautiful stone he found, was scolded by their father for bothering Alan. Brett was deemed a failure, and the beautiful stone slipped from his hands as he ran away. Alan comforted his distraught brother, emphasizing that one's worth shouldn't be defined by others' judgments. The subsequent chapter depicted a change in fortune for the brothers. Despite being labeled a failure earlier, Alan's status shifted, and expectations now fell on Brett. However, Brett, embittered by the change, accused Alan of making a mockery of him, echoing their father's sentiments. Alan, seemingly unfazed, suggested it would be fine if Brett became the family head. Frustrated and angered, Brett vented about Alan's nonchalance and accused him of being frivolous. Alan, calm in the face of Brett's tirade, reassured him that mistakes were acceptable and that he would intervene if needed. The chapter concluded with Alan retiring to his room, grappling with the lingering anger. The narrative continued with the day of the puppet funeral, where Brett, determined to prove himself, declared that Alan wouldn't be a hindrance anymore. Brett affirmed his belief that he deserved to support the household and wouldn't tolerate pity from others. Alan reiterated his support for Brett, assuring him that even if mistakes occurred, he would be there to rectify them. The next day, as the puppet funeral preparations commenced, Alan, Liz, and Beatrix arrived in a serene village, hoping to find leads about Alfred. In the quiet village, as the enigmatic shogun and his companions, including the stranger woman, engaged with the village chief, Alan revealed their purpose: the search for Liz's long-lost uncle, who vanished 5 years ago. The mysterious woman, having lived in the village with old friends, expressed her lack of knowledge about the missing uncle, but suggested seeking the chief's counsel. Guided by the woman, they approached the chief, who graciously welcomed them, thanking them for their visit. Eager to unravel the mystery, Liz, with a mix of anticipation and anxiety, conveyed her desire to reunite with her uncle. The chief, though appreciative, confessed his limited knowledge but offered them hospitality for the day. As conversation unfolded, Beatrix inquired about other missing persons in the village. The chief, emphasizing the village's seclusion, hinted at the rarity of such incidents. Accepting the lack of further leads, the chief extended an invitation to stay for the night, leading them to his spacious abode. Apologizing for any inconvenience, the chief hinted at an upcoming festival that would envelop the village in merriment. He invited them to partake, revealing it as an opportunity to connect with the villagers and potentially glean information about Liz's uncle. Intrigued, Liz readily agreed, eager to delve into the festival called the Spirit Festival. The subsequent chapter unfolded on the day of the festival, a unique celebration to honor ancestral spirits. Rumors linked the shogun and Liz's uncle to the deceased, prompting Liz to hope for more revelations. As the festival commenced, the village came alive with vibrant activities, showcasing a rule against gloominess. Participants, dressed as departed loved ones, engaged in festivities aimed at providing solace and comfort. Alan, surprised by the unconventional nature of the festival, offered assistance, but the villagers reassured them to simply enjoy the festivities that began at nightfall. Beatrix found the event peculiar, considering the taboo surrounding the deceased in their own country. Yet in this remote village, the dead were celebrated in a manner that resonated with life. As the night unfolded, someone invited Alan and Beatrix to join the revelry. Alan opted to rest, while a passerby enticed Beatrix to dance. Amidst the festivities, Liz heard her name called. Turning to see her long-lost uncle, Alfred, overwhelmed with emotion, Liz doubted her eyes but followed Alfred to a secluded place. Alfred, previously warning Liz about her father's murderous intent, now stood before her. Their conversation unfolded, unraveling the complex dynamics of Liz's family. Alfred, once her protector, shared cryptic details about her father, the king, who wore a metaphorical mask to conceal his true intentions. Liz, smiling through tears, confronted her uncle, eager to unearth the truth behind her father's alleged desire to kill. In the desolate wilderness, it was inconceivable for a princess to venture alone. She questioned the absence of a substantial escort, suggesting that a mere platoon of knights should have safeguarded the perilous journey. It was only after a failed assassination attempt that Alfred, in a moment of revelation, disclosed the true motives behind the threat on Lizzie's life. As it turned out, the king sought the demise of 5 individuals, including Liz, due to their possession of congenital gifts, traits, or abnormalities bestowed upon them from birth. This revelation marked them as extraordinary beings, akin to the Shogun, who had met an untimely end earlier in their investigation. The realization struck Liz that she too was targeted for her innate gifts. During their inquiry in the royal capital, Alfred probed Liz about any recent surveillance on her. Confirming her suspicions, Liz acknowledged being watched. Yet, she was not the sole possessor of congenital gifts, and an air of peculiarity had enveloped her surrounding. Frustrated, Alfred questioned her silence, but Liz believed the pieces were falling into place. The motive behind the targeted deaths of those with congenital gifts, Alfred explained, stemmed from the belief that they were puppets of God. Liz, shocked, discovered that she was referred to as a saint, a miraculous being with powers intended by divine will. Alfred emphasized the immense influence of her gifts, a potential threat to the established order. In a heated conversation, Alfred asserted that Liz's powers were subject to divine will, a tool to carry out God's intentions. However, Liz questioned the morality of allowing the gods to dictate human happiness. Her father's drastic decision to eliminate gift-bearers, including herself, aimed to return control to mankind. Alfred proposed an alliance against Liz's father, presenting an alternative to her imminent demise. Liz, maintaining her belief in dialogue and understanding, refused to accept violence as the solution. Alfred, predicting that Liz's kindness would be her downfall, urged her to comprehend the gravity of the situation. As tension escalated, Alan intervened, revealing that he had been keeping a watchful eye on Liz. Alfred dismissed Alan as a mere failure, a former fiancé of Liz. Alan, unfazed, challenged Alfred, refusing to engage with someone lacking Using the authority of the Blade World's end, Alan broke the spell controlling Alfred. To everyone's surprise, Alfred regained consciousness and apologized for his actions. He disclosed his betrayal of the royal family, harboring a deep-seated grudge even before his demise. Aware that time was of the essence, Alfred entrusted 2 tasks to Alan, safeguarding Liz and engaging in a spar. Alan accepted the responsibilities, leaving Liz bewildered at the unexpected turn of events. As the sorcerer's impending threat loomed, the trio prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, uncertain of the twists and turns in their unpredictable journey. In the delicate embrace of twilight, Alan found himself entrusted with the well-being of Liz by her mother, Alfred. In recognition of this responsibility, Alan felt it only fair that Alfred gauge his worthiness. After a brief conversation where Alfred acknowledged Alan's intelligence, the two prepared for a spar. Alfred, brimming with confidence, declared the commencement of their duel, not as lifeless combatants, but as knights ready for a spirited contest. Alan, however, expressed discomfort in engaging with someone just roused from sleep. Deterred, Alfred insisted on the bout, his confidence unwavering, while Liz observed with teary eyes. As they readied for the clash, Alan vowed to protect Liz from the ominous demons until a stronger guardian emerged. He spoke of a peculiar night, the Spirit Festival, where the realms of the living and the dead intertwined. With a swift and decisive flash, Alan, with a heavy heart, ended Alfred's life. In his final moments, Alfred apologized for leaving Liz, finding solace in the fact that he could now rest as a knight and a man. His parting words expressed his deep love for Liz, leaving her in tears. As the festival's flames flickered away, the dead returned to the underworld, and the living resumed their ordinary lives. The village chief approached Alan, acknowledging his awareness of the necromancer's presence and the controlled undead. Alan admitted his reluctance to interfere, fearing harm even in a seemingly peaceful village with the demon chief. Reflecting on the broader perspective, Alan recognized his potential usefulness and questioned the chief about the hidden corpses. A confrontation ensued, and Alan, showcasing his diverse skills, dismantled the chief. However, the victory left him in a sour mood, emphasizing his belief that a person's body and soul were sacred and not to be manipulated by others. The scene shifted, and Beatrice scolded Alan for the previous night's events, while Liz blamed herself. Amidst the aftermath, Alan's attention shifted to a peculiar stone held by the village chief. Although it appeared to be an R, closer inspection revealed a different truth, leading Alan to contemplate its significance. Liz, attempting to transmit a message, hinted at a disturbance, raising concerns. Meanwhile, in the royal capital Cardia of the Kingdom of Adisa, rumors circulated about the shogun and his loyal servant. Edward, dismissing the rumors, pondered whether they stemmed from an organization or a more sinister force. The conversation unveiled Edward's determination to face the crisis threatening the nation and his strategic advantage in countering the shogun's powers. As suspicions grew, a message reached Edward about a suspicious person within the castle, setting the stage for an unexpected turn of events. The very presence of Edward in this place indicated the challenges involved in bringing him to the garrison. The man acknowledged this difficulty, stating that if they had apprehended Edward without caution, it would have led to significant trouble. Hence, they found themselves meeting in this clandestine location. The moment they heard the man's voice, shock overcame them, as it was unmistakably the Archbishop addressing them. Though intimidating, Edward, fueled by anger, demanded an explanation for summoning him there. The group mentioned that the Lord had something important to convey. Despite Edward instructing the others to return to their positions, they insisted on accompanying him, driven by uncertainty. Edward assured them that their purpose was not to engage in another battle. Rather, they aimed to gather information. Despite objections, particularly from a man wearing glasses, the group's determination prevailed. In the castle, Lord Brett received word that Edward was being summoned by the Archbishop, a move orchestrated by Lord Brett himself. Failure in this endeavour could spell trouble for Lord Brett, emphasising Edward's impulsive nature. Although General Syle's abilities were generally effective, Edward wasn't perceived as an adversary. Edward possessed the unique ability to instantly deactivate the gifts of individuals within a 1-meter radius, making him nearly invincible on the battlefield. However, Edward acknowledged the need to handle the situation with care. Meanwhile, in the castle, news reached Lord Brett that the hero had arrived. A short-haired girl accompanied by a younger child. Navigating through the lively town, they were confronted by hooded men who accused the girl of hiding. Unfazed, she noted that their killing intent was apparent, questioning if they could truly harm her. The situation took a dark turn as the girl unknowingly became a victim of their life-draining technique. Edward, sensing trouble, remained composed, confident that his men would intervene if necessary. As events unfolded, Edward arrived at the location where the Archbishop's business was conducted, a training ground. Curiosity lingered as he sought answers about the purpose of his summons. Suddenly, a familiar figure attacked him, revealing himself to be Craig. Edward questioned the motive behind this abrupt assault, finding Craig's actions seemingly irrational. However, Craig claimed that the Archbishop had joined their cause, catching Edward off guard. Simultaneously, in the castle, rumors spread about the Archbishop's involvement, with General Cyril making a surprising appearance. Apologizing for the disturbance, he revealed a shocking truth, that the country, or rather, God, was deceiving them. The gifts initially perceived as blessings were tools used by God to control and manipulate. Back at the training ground, Edward struggled against Craig's formidable strength. Despite nullifying the powers of his gift, Edward realized that Craig's superiority stemmed from his level. The higher the level, the closer one became to God, granting unparalleled strength. Craig, fueled by personal loss, harbored a deep resentment towards God. Edward, exasperated, disclosed that he had married a woman with the gift of the Virgin Mother solely to bear a child for God. This revelation highlighted Edward's disdain for gifts, considering them as mere instruments playing with human lives. In a parallel narrative, General Cyril echoed similar sentiments to the confused masses, exposing the truth behind the deceptive nature of the gifts. The Archbishop confirmed these revelations, emphasizing the profound implications of their shared knowledge. In a setting where everyone seemed bound in servitude to God, the general urged people to awaken to the truth. he emphasized the importance of making decisions, not just for the present, but also for the well-being of future generations. However, he cautioned them about the deceptive allure of gifts, warning that some might accept them without truly understanding their consequences. Amidst the crowd's curiosity, the Archbishop welcomed a certain Brett Vestal. People were intrigued by Brett's presence, raising questions about Alan, who wasted no time introducing himself and the alchemist they had employed. Despite his initially mediocre skills, the alchemist had evolved to the point of creating magical life forms. A silhouette emerged, a golem vouched for as safe by its creators, promising to assist with its formidable powers comparable to the night. The alchemist revealed the source of this power, the Anthem of Heroes. This anthem had the unique ability to draw out latent abilities over time, enabling individuals to surpass their inherent gifts. It was not just a fleeting enhancement, but a legacy that could be passed down through generations. Skeptical yet convinced, the people pondered the future after Lord Brett. To address this, Brett brought forth a demon, asserting a cooperative relationship with these entities. The bishop acknowledged the truths revealed, with demon cooperation pledging support to the gathered assembly. Simultaneously, the First Knights noticed the vice-captain's unsettling condition. While discussing, they discovered a mysterious man behind them, inquiring about his identity. The man insisted he wasn't an enemy and proceeded to share a seemingly, despite initial disbelief, he warned of the inevitability of their fates being shaped by the gifts bestowed upon them. The narrative then shifted to a conversation between the glass man and a man behind them. The man shared insights into the predestined nature of their lives, orchestrated even by the gods themselves. He expressed a desire to alter the future and challenged the notion that they were chosen without consent. As tension escalated, the man disappeared and reappeared, engaging in a deadly confrontation with the glass man. Amidst the chaos, a woman's voice, identified as Beatrix, intervened to rescue them. The man with glasses expressed surprise at Beatrix's arrival and gratitude for her assistance. Beatrix explained her timely arrival, crediting the vice-captain's magical tool, and mentioned borrowing abilities from strong allies. The narrative then briefly introduced a dark-skinned girl with formidable powers, hinting at her involvement in the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, Edward faced injuries inflicted by Craig, who taunted him about the stark difference in power. Craig urged Edward to submit, emphasizing the potential disgrace of resistance. Edward, however, hinted at hidden truths, questioning whether those with high abilities might become hindrances. The tense situation unfolded, leaving unanswered questions and escalating conflicts. The elimination of General Cyril weighed heavily on Craig's sharp mind, wishing for a moment of dullness that might spare him from facing the looming spectre of death. Edward probed Craig about Cyril's fate and the Archbishop's involvement, but Craig found the inquiry futile, as he believed Edward already held the answers within. Interrupted by a voice, they turned to find Kira. Edward was sardonically apologetic for the disruption, and Kira commented on Edward's spectacular takedown, addressing Craig to stay put. She intended to confront the old man herself. Craig, shocked, questioned her presence, believing she should have been dead. Kira clarified that he didn't manage to kill her off, expressing surprise at her own survival. Craig speculated about Kira abandoning a child for self-preservation, branding her a puppet of God. Kira urged him not to jump to conclusions, insinuating his affiliation with them. With a smirk, Craig challenged her, asking what she intended to do about it. Kira declared her intention to crush him, prompting Edward to sarcastically apologize for the interruption. Acknowledging the spectacle Craig had become, Edward sought his assistance, grateful for any help offered. Craig agreed, claiming Kira had saved him the trouble of dealing with God's puppet, vowing to end her with his own hands. Kira dismissed the puppet talk, asserting her individuality, and warned Craig that power given or not, she was herself. Edward, recognizing the truth in Kira's words, emphasized that blaming everything on God was an excuse, not a solution. He declared his intent to kill Craig to prove his righteousness, setting the stage for the next chapter. The scene shifted to an argument between Alan and his brother Brett. They took a break as others prepared to confront Brett, labeled a failure, except by his brother. Alan proposed entrusting national defense to them, citing their years of tireless work. Brett questioned Alan's presence and his lack of belief in them. The discussion turned to magical life forms and an attempt on the princess's life. Liz intervened, revealing herself as the princess and accused Brett of the attack. Chaos ensued, with the folk questioning Brett's motives. Liz explained that as a congenital gift holder, powerful demons considered her an obstacle. She implicated Brett as the one behind the attack, causing confusion. As the knights, seemingly under control, threatened the crowd, Alan intervened, revealing he severed the controlling strings. Panic spread as two knights were discovered to be moving as if corpses. Brett confronted Alan, labeling him a failure, while Liz commanded an evacuation. Alan contemplated his troublesome brother, acknowledging that he might be at fault for not giving him enough attention. Nevertheless, he warned Brett that any mistakes would not be tolerated and delivered a punch. Meanwhile, Liz attempted to restore order, leaving Alan to reflect on his challenging familial ties. In the midst of the intense battle between Edward, Akira, and Craig, a sense of unease washed over him as he observed her worried expression. Determined to reassure her, he decided to address the gathering with a speech, urging her not to fret. Liz, however, insisted she would be fine, diverting their attention back to the ongoing clash. Edward disclosed the extraordinary abilities at play, highlighting Craig's strength, though Akira noticed an uncanny predictability in his movements. Edward unraveled the secret behind this. Craig possessed the power of future vision, enabling him to glimpse into the future. Yet, this gift demanded intense concentration, rendering it impractical for combat. Craig, unswayed, claimed he had foreseen the girl's death countless times, a destiny seemingly impervious to change. As the battle escalated, Craig's internal conflict unfolded. He lamented the burdensome nature of his gift, attributing the tragic loss of his loved one to a divine plan known as fate. Edward countered, dismissing the concept of God. Akira grasped the reason behind Craig's rejection of God and his own powers, recognizing the depth of his inner turmoil. In a desperate bid to gain strength at the cost of his own life, Craig sought to harness the powers of Akira and Edward. However, the clash reached a critical point as darkness, anger, and grief consumed Craig, pushing him to the brink of despair. In a surprising twist, Alan intervened just in time, apologizing for his tardiness and disrupting Craig's plans. Amidst the chaos, Craig's internal conflict intensified. Akira, feeling the impending danger, could only mutter a frustrated "damn it." Alan, unexpectedly, revealed himself and apologized to Akira. Craig, amused, acknowledged that he never anticipated Alan's interference, expressing disdain for his lineage. Alan, unfazed, asserted that there were people he couldn't abandon, sparking a confrontation with Craig. The battle's aftermath plunged the capital into chaos, marked by the appearance of a demon general and an archbishop. The death of the Second Knight's Order leader added to the turmoil, but the princess rallied the people, averting complete chaos. Westfield faced its own upheavals, with the head of the family joining forces with the devil in rebellion. Despite the losses and scars, life slowly returned to normal. In a surprising turn, Alan declined the bestowed title of Duke Westfield, emphasizing his dishonourment. The king, acknowledging his contributions, respected Alan's decision. Liz, now bearing the name Liz Westfield, joined the conversation, expressing her happiness at finding them. Alan, uncertain about his future, decided to wait and see. As they parted ways, Liz revealed her decision to take over the Westfield territories. Alan, acknowledging Liz's new role, reflected on his intention to delegate real power to someone else. Liz, having changed her name, asserted her readiness to learn and adapt. She expressed her belief that being with Alan made everything feel right, emphasizing her commitment to those who needed her. And so, as they left the king's presence, Alan pondered the significance of their journey. Despite being labelled a failure, he found solace in the fact that there were people who still valued him. The tale of battles, conflicts, and personal revelations unfolded, closing this chapter in their intertwined destinies.